الحمد لله الحمد لله خالق الوجود من العدم وجاعل النور من الظلم ومخرج الصبر من الألم فملك التوبة على الندم فنشكره على المصائب كما نشكره على النعم ونصلي على رسوله الأكرم ذي الشرف الأشم والنور الأتم والكتاب المحكم وكمال النبيين والخاتم سيد ولد آدم الذي بشر به عيسى بن مريم ودعا لبعثته إبراهيم عليه السلام حين كان يرفع قواعد بيت الله المحرم فصلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى أتباعه خير الأمم الذين بارك الله بهم كافة الناس العرب منهم والعجم. فالحمد لله الذي نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدًا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فقد قال جل وعلا في كتابه العزيز وفرقانه الحميد بعد أن أقول أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والذين يقولون ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين وجعلنا للمتقين إماما رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. One of the great struggles that you and I have here in the West is raising our teenage children. And when we look at the Quran and the Sunnah, there are many du'as and ad'iyas that we recite. وَأَصْلِحْ لِي فِي ذُرِّيَّتِي رَبَّنَا هَبْ لَنَا مِنْ أَزْوَاجِنَا وَذُرِّيَّاتِنَا قُرَّةَ أَعْيُنٍ. But the thing is, when you look at Islam and you look at the pristine religion and what it teaches us, when it comes to marriage, there are fiqh, there are rules and regulations. When it comes to even divorce, there are fiqh and rules and regulations. But there isn't any specific fiqh and rules and regulations when raising children. Often when I used to come back from South Africa every summer to lead Taraweeh in our community, people used to ask, what should I do with my kids? How do I raise my children in an Islamic environment? What do I do? And I went back and asked some of my scholars, and what you look at the Quran and the Sunnah and the Seerah of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there isn't specific rules that if you do X, the result will be Y, and if you do these rules, that the results will be in such a way. And what you learn from it, there are general rulings of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muru awladakum bis-salat, that command your children to perform prayer when they are at a certain age. Tell your children to do this and that. But there isn't specific rules that you must do this and the result will be in this manner. And I want to begin with this quotation of Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu, and this is a profound statement. He said, don't raise your children the way you were raised. What is he trying to say? That your children are being raised in a different generation, in a different culture, in a different environment. So understanding the culture and understanding the environment, raise your children in that way. Because your children aren't being raised the same way you are being raised, because they're living in a different era, they're living in a different generation. So this is a beautiful quotation of Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu that gives us the understanding. And again, I hope that this is just the beginning of this discussion, because this is just not an issue in the US. Even if you go to somewhere like South Africa, Australia, throughout the globe, this is an issue that how should I raise my children, especially at that specific age, which is a teenager, when they're going through maturity, when they're becoming baligh, and they're facing different challenges in the environment that they're being raised. And I want to mention a few points from the Quran and the Sunnah that will help us, inshallah, in raising our children. The first thing we have to understand is that when raising teenagers, especially boys or girls, that there is no such thing as a teenager. Either they're an adult or either they are not an adult. Either they're mature, they're baligh, or either they are not. In Islam, there is no middle age. We consider that, okay, now my child is, in public school, he's still young. And then when he goes to middle school, he's considered as a teenager. And then when he graduates, he's considered as an adult after the age of 19, where that word teen is not there anymore. But in Islam, it's either they're baligh or they're not. And that responsibility must be instilled within them. When you look at the story of Luqman alayhi salatu wassalam, he doesn't tell his child that I will hit you or I will reprimand you, but he builds this sense of responsibility and this understanding within his child by saying, Ya bunayya aqimis salah wa'mur bil ma'roof wanha anil munkar, that, oh my son, that there will be a time that I will not be there. And there's a greater being, referring to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who you have to answer to. Today I'm alive, I die. So you're going to pray just for me, and then tomorrow when I'm not alive, you're not going to pray anymore? No. Whether I'm alive, whether I am present or I'm not present, remember there's a greater being and a greater that you have to answer to. So you look at the discipline that Luqman alayhi salatu wasalam instilled in his son, that taqwa and the fear of Allah, that whether I am present or not, there is an Allah that you have to answer to. The second point of reflection, which is a follow-up of the first one, that we have to make our children responsible. We can't be always behind their backs regarding every small little thing. We can't be micromanaging every single thing that they do. They need their own privacy. They need to be responsible. And coming to the third point, which is every single conversation with our children should not be about do's and don'ts. That if you do this, I will do that for you. Why haven't you done this? Why aren't you doing this? We need to give them some sense of responsibility and some sense of privacy, that child feels that my parents think of me as responsible individuals, that my parents trust me. Because today there is no trust between children. There is no trust between the father and the daughter. There is no trust between the father and the son. And that is why the sense of responsibility is not there. You have to remember that they're not 5 years old, they're not 10 years old. They want this privacy and they want to do things on their own. You have to let them do certain things. And when they make the mistake, let them make the mistake. They will learn from their mistake. As every person knows, that the best thing that you can do in life is make mistakes and learn from your mistakes. In English, there's a beautiful saying that the first time it's a mistake and the second time it's an option. The first time when you commit a crime or whatever you do, it's a mistake perhaps. But the second time, it's intentionally done. You're methodical, you're understanding what you are going into. So children, let them make the mistake and they will return back, inshallah, if they have that sense of responsibility. The fourth thing, which is very important, is that we need to reward our children for the actions that they do. Sometimes when they come for prayer with us, if they do the right thing, we need to reward our children, and we need to raise the bar in rewarding them. It's not always a small little candy. It's not always, a Snicker bar or a Twix or giving them $1 or $2. We need to reward them in such a way that they feel that they need to increase in whatever they're doing. It could be salah, it could be Quran, it could be going to the masjid with you. They need to be rewarded in such a way that they feel motivated that they need to do more. And alhamdulillah, in this country, we all have to admit that we are living better lives than our parents did. We are living, alhamdulillah, better lives than our parents did. So we have, alhamdulillah, the ability and the capacity to reward our children. And this is very important that each and every single one of us don't treat our kids. They may be teenagers, they may be reaching adulthood. We need to build and instill this time and this value within them. There was a beautiful story in the UK where a child came up to his father and he said, "Oh, my dad, how much do you earn per hour?" So he said, "Why are you asking me? Why are you bothering me regarding this question?" So he said, "I make 10 pounds an hour." So he said, later on he came back after a few days and he said, "Oh, my dad, can I get 10 pounds? So he gave him 10 pounds and he said, "Stop disturbing me." And a few days later went by, and that father sees 10 pounds slip under from his pillow. And he asked his son, "Didn't I give you this 10 pounds? Why are you giving this back to me?" He said, "Oh, my dad, because you do not give me any time, I wanted to give you 10 pounds for that 1 hour that you make so you can give me some time." If you and I do not give time for our children, if you and I don't give time to our children and value our children, then they will be loving just spending time with their friends. And they will, ignore us and live that life with their friends and enjoy their time with their friends. And you will become something which is annoying or disturbing to their lives. So it's very important that you and I treat our children in a responsible way and give our children valuable time, meaningful time. Do Islamic things with them. Instill Islamic values in them. What happens is, unfortunately, because we come to this country and we're first generation, we're in this life of hustle and this bustle, right? It's all about making some money and we're not able to give time to our children. If you and I don't give time to our children, then don't expect your child to give you time when you grow up. So this is a very important topic, and alhamdulillah, in ICFT this weekend we'll be spending time with our families together. So inshallah, please bring your families. And also, alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, ICFT will be providing a nightly reflection with our youth, inshallah, every single week, starting from July 5th, 6 weeks, inshallah. So please get your children registered, inshallah. It will be a 6-week course for $75. All the children who are in 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, all the way going up to high school are welcome, inshallah, for this event. Every single week we'll have a different topic. One week we'll have tajweed, another week we'll have hadith, another week we'll have tafsir. And will be an enjoyable environment for the children to come to the masjid. Alhamdulillah, they'll be performing Salatul Maghrib or Salatul Isha. It will be between the time of Maghrib and Isha, inshallah. So please get registered, inshallah. You can contact Uncle Tanveer or Uncle Iqbal for that, inshallah. I hope to see your children, inshallah, here. May Allah Azza wa Jal give us the ability and the opportunity to spend time and quality time with our children and bring them back to the Islamic centers and bring them back to the masjid. Wa sallallahu wa barika ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. ألا إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وصل على المؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات وبارك على محمد وأزواجه وذريته قال النبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم أرحم أمتي بأمتي أبو بكر وأشدهم في أمر الله عمر وأصدقهم حياء عثمان وأقضاهم علي وفاطمة سيدة نساء أهل الجنة رضي الله تعالى عنها وعنهم اللهم انصر المسلمين في كل مكان اللهم انصر المسلمين في كل مكان اللهم انصر من نصر دين محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وجعلنا منهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تجعلنا فتنة للقوم الظالمين ونجنا برحمتك من القوم الكافرين اللهم استعملنا وتقبلنا لخدمة دينك اللهم استعملنا وتقبلنا لخدمة دينك ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين وجعلنا للمتقين إماما ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد ربنا تقبل صلاتنا وتقبل قيامنا وتقبل ركوعنا وتقبل سجودنا كما تقبلت من عبادك الصالحين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين أقم الصلاة